What's up YouTube, this is Fate, bringing you today a banlist reaction video. A lot of crazy things are gearing up for this next format, so let's take a look at them. Okay, first things first, the one thing that I kind of found painful when I first looked at this list. Blaster, Redox, and pretty much assumed both Tempest and Tidal around here as well. All the rulers are now banned. Which, granted, I bring you guys tons of profiles, but for the people who know me out there, dragons are my soul. So when I saw this with Dark Matter just coming out, my heart sank. Here I thought I was sitting on a really good setup to finally be able to compete with the OTKs of Necros and everything else, but just wasn't meant to be. Will this discourage me from trying out Dark Matter or other various dragon builds? No, it will not. In fact, I am definitely going to also work hard to update my Dragudi deck for reasons that you'll see later in this list. Moving on to the other card that was banned. Snatch Steal. And yeah, I think I kind of jinxed myself on this one from my last video, just flowing about 9 copies of these in front of the camera. So no, it was good while it lasted, but there are other options out there. If you still want to steal stuff for synchro plays, yeah. Mind Control is still an awesome card, along with Econ and the rest of them. Try those cards out. You will be surprised. That is it for the new ban cards. On to the limited to 1 cards. Sinister Serpent. Kind of expected he wasn't really used that much at all. Wasn't planned being used that much at all with the other list coming out. I think they errata Sinister Serpent mainly for the Shaddoll players. Because with the new Shaddoll Water Fusion coming out soon, I could see why they had to errata Sinister Serpent the way they did. Otherwise, this could have been free pluses for Shaddolls, so even though it wasn't used that much before and people believed that it could come back as it was at one, I do realize the errata on this guy. Tour Guide. I know a lot of Burning the Bush players that are going to be salty about that one. Moving on to the next card, Dragon Ravine. It is back. It is ready to go. Bring it on. Gives a huge boost to my Dragudi build. And depending on how this format goes, if by next format they bump it up to 2 or 3, since Dragudis themselves aren't as tame without the rulers, who knows, but I'm going to be having fun with Dragudis for a while. Preparation of Rites. I'm glad that they hitch Necros in one facet or another, but you know what? I know multiple other decks, Saphira lockdown decks, even some Relinquish lockdown decks, Herald lockdown decks that abuse the heck out of this card. So granted, they wanted to primarily limit Necros. It's just those other builds aren't as sacky and can crush you with their control plays now. Sacrifice. They had to hit Qlis one way or another. So what do you do first? You hit their Searcher / equip cards that does too many things. Oh, it doesn't necessarily slow down Qlis. I still expect it to be a fast build. It's just this search play only gets cut down to 1 time. So instead of being an automatic cycle through, you're going to have to be more selective on how you play this card along with its timing. Symbol of Heritage. I understand that not many people have played with this card at all, but all I have to say with this card, there's something that Konami sees that we are not seeing quite yet. maybe something with normal monsters, new archetype that's an unknown combo that we are not looking for right now. And something tells me in the coming months we will see the reason why they hit this card specifically. Temple of the Kings. Mythical beats Surskit, fusion big plays back with trap cards. I still don't see Temple of the Kings being used much, but for the heavier trap back row heavy users, I can see this card being a good boost. Speaking of back row users, Crush Card Virus. Coming back just in time. I don't know about you guys, but it's not only using the Crush Card Virus with the new E-Hero Shadow Mist, as well as other lower attack power Dark Monsters. This card coming back in time, specifically for Dragons of Legend 2. Fane of Critias coming out as well. Crush card came back at the right time, that's all I have to say. Exchange of the Spirit. Now, before this card was a powerhouse, but the errata that both players now have to have 15 or more cards in their graveyard. OCG just recently put Exchange of Spirit back up to 3. I wouldn't be a bit surprised that with the errata defect, the same will happen for the TCG by next list. Next card, Reign of Destruction. Obviously with the errata effect. However, people are underrating this card a little too much. Mainly because it's still an opponent's turn disruptor. And the fact that you deal a little added bird damage, if you're disrupting them at the right time and they can't help but leave their field wide open, that could still potentially be game for your opponent. It's all in the timing with the new errata effect, but Reign of Destruction can definitely still steal games away from opponents. Skill drains. Again, Qlis, too much negating. Had to happen. And Vanity's Emptiness. For those of you who stocked up and only have a few builds to put Emptiness in, I do feel for you. I do see the reason why Vanity Emptiness had to go down to 1. It's a game controlling card by itself, which Konami tends to frown upon at times. But in the meantime, once I started to filing Vanity's Emptiness into my own build, since I finally got copies, this just means more of my builds I can use it in, so it doesn't hurt me as much, but the same reason why I'm kind of bummed out that this did get hit to 1, for obvious reasons. On to the semi-limiteds. Qlis Scout. Same rule with the Sacrifice, hit the Searcher, just going to have to be a little more creative with the search plays. Same thing with Necros of Brionic. It's they're somewhat ritual searcher of the deck as well. Just going to have to be a little more creative with the timing, except with Necros, where they play 2 Brionic, 3 Brionic. It doesn't matter too much with them. They still have too much power for this next format. Legendary 6 Samurai Shiin. Definitely a huge boost to 6 Samurai decks. But with monster effects starting to become a lot more prevalent these days, especially with Fire Fists gain some power back, Gladiator Beasts gain some power back, Plants gain some power back, Qlis doing what they do, Necros doing what they do. This might be one of those cases that it was a little too late of putting Shiin back to 2. However, it's still a huge boost for 6 Samurai players. Charge of the Light Brigade. Light Swords looking for a little more oomph, as well as Infernoids. Why not put this at 2, try to balance out the format a little bit. Except Necros, they're still not balanced. Sacred Sword of the 7 Stars, this is pretty much a why not. You banned the cards that originally went to. Now on to the cards that are no longer limited, or no longer on the ban list. Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Spirit gives Fire Fists the needed speed that's in order for them to compete for the format. I feel like this combo will definitely set up their field really nicely. Defensive-wise, offensive-wise, this should have enough to at least keep up with the format. What they do with the speed or how effective that speed is, we'll see in the coming days. Now for these heads to see the baby dragons coming, especially for the fact that the rulers are now gone from the game. With the rulers gone, the baby's effects are basically null and void, so why not put them each back at 3 when they can't do anything. Now another thing that went to 3, Gladiator Beast Bestiary. Now I just recently did a Gladiator Beast deck profile on the offhand mentioning hoping that Bestiary went back to at least semi-limited. And all I have to say is, thank you. You gave my Gladiator Beasts new light. Obviously, I'm going to have to rework the deck a little bit. I'll probably make an update in the description below of that video. But Bestiary is definitely going to be a speed boost to Gladiator Beast players as well as clear in place. Gorz, Emissary of Darkness, back to 3. Understandably why people aren't using him, but Gorz at 3, he can be somewhat of a rogue disruptor in plays now, depending on the build that you use him in. It's going to be difficult to use him at 3, I realize that, but Gorz still has that presence that I'm not sure what to feel about at 3. At 2, I understood, but at 3, I don't really have a real good comment with that one. Now for the plant boost, Lone Fire Blossoms. I have been working on the plant deck for a while now. In fact, on an off-target, in my first special video, I told you that I had sort of a Fire Flower deck profile coming out soon around that time. Well, during that list around that time, Soul Charge getting hit to 1. That actually killed that deck beyond repair, so I've been slowly biding time, bringing back the resources for Quasar-like plant build, as well as some of their own standing plays. And with Lone Fire going back to 3, that pretty much gives me the support I need to push towards finally making one of those builds. It won't be Fire Flower with Lavavels and that, like I promised before. That deck's pretty much long dead by this time, but well, that and Lone Fire Blossom just gives lots of plays to plant players in general, especially Sylvans. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we see a resurgence in Sylvan players this next format. Goyo Guardian going to 3. Most people only use the 1 anyway, why not? And Harak Seal of Convocation. Now, for people planning dragon builds to use Dark Mirror in that, this was a good move because, especially with the Harak engine, this keeps not just Dragunities with Ravine viable, but it keeps all dragon decks viable that splice Heretics. So, kudos to Konami of America. Dark Mirror is still viable because of this card. Can't wait to test them out. And with that, that was my ban list to reaction video. Hope you enjoyed it, and as always, comment, rate, and subscribe. And until next time.